Alright, let's dive into something that's been buzzing in Canadian politics lately, and trust me, it's a lot more fascinating than it might seem at first glance. Here's the deal, a new Nanos research poll just dropped, and it's basically saying that Prime Minister Mark Carney has no obvious challenger among the Conservatives. Now, personally, I think this is a huge deal, not just for the Conservatives but for Canadian politics as a whole. What makes this really interesting is that it's not just about who's leading the pack, it's about the lack of a clear alternative. And that, my friends, is where things get really intriguing. So, let's break this down. The poll asked Canadians who among the Conservatives could actually defeat Carney if they were the party leader. The results? Well, Stephen Harper got 16%, Pierre Poilievre got 15%, and Doug Ford came in at 11%. But here's the kicker, 33% of Canadians said none can defeat Carney. That's a third of the country essentially saying there's no one on the Conservative bench who can take him on. From my perspective, this isn't just a poll result, it's a statement about the state of the Conservative Party right now. What many people don't realize is that this kind of vacuum of leadership can have long-term implications. It's not just about the next election, it's about the party's ability to rebuild and redefine itself. Now, let's talk about Pierre Poilievre for a second. He's the current official opposition leader, and according to the poll, only 15% of Canadians think he has a shot at beating Carney. That's a tough pill to swallow, right? But here's where it gets even more complicated. Nick Nanos, the founder of Nanos Research, points out that while Poilievre isn't seen as a strong challenger, there's also no one else in the wings who's stepping up. In my opinion, this is a double-edged sword for Poilievre. On one hand, he doesn't have to worry about an immediate internal challenge. On the other hand, it highlights just how much work he, and the party, needs to do to become a real threat to Carney. And speaking of Carney, what's his secret? Well, Nanos suggests it's his middle-of-the-road policies. Canceling the consumer carbon tax, prioritizing energy projects, these are moves that appeal to a broad swath of voters, including some Conservatives who might lean a bit more progressive. Personally, I think this is a smart strategy. It's not about swinging for the fences, it's about playing the long game and building a coalition that can sustain itself. What this really suggests is that Carney understands the political landscape better than his opponents give him credit for. But here's the thing, Carney's popularity isn't just about his policies. It's also about the context in which he's operating. Nanos points out that the unpredictability of U.S. President Donald Trump has given Carney an extended honeymoon phase. Canadians are worried about the economy, trade, and their own financial security, but they're not blaming Carney for it. If you take a step back and think about it, this is a huge advantage for any leader. It's like he's got a free pass, at least for now. But as Nanos warns, the fall could be a big test for him, especially with the Quebec election and the Alberta referendum on the horizon. That's when we'll really see if Carney's strategy holds up. So, what's the bigger picture here? In my opinion, this poll isn't just about who's leading the Conservatives or how popular Carney is. It's about the broader trends in Canadian politics. The Conservatives are at a crossroads, and they need to figure out not just who their leader is, but what they stand for. Meanwhile, Carney is playing a game of political chess, positioning himself as the steady hand in uncertain times. One thing that immediately stands out is how much the lack of a clear Conservative challenger benefits him. It's almost like he's running unopposed, not in the literal sense, but in the court of public opinion. As we wrap this up, I'm left with a big question. What does this mean for the future of Canadian politics? Is this the beginning of a long-term Liberal dominance, or is it just a temporary blip? Personally, I think it's too early to tell, but one thing is clear, the Conservatives have their work cut out for them. And for Carney? Well, he's got a window of opportunity, but it won't stay open forever. So, what do you think? Is Carney's position as secure as it seems, or is there a challenger waiting in the wings we're not seeing yet? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take.